Hello, and welcome to Whisper Tales. Tonight, let me guide you into the depths of a story veiled in shadows and mystery, a story of a misunderstood ruler, often feared and rarely celebrated. We journey to the edge of a realm unlike any other. A place where sunlight never reaches, where rivers flow with whispers of souls long gone, and where a quiet, solemn figure sits upon a throne of onyx and silver. This is the kingdom of Hades, the dark prince of Greek mythology. But who is Hades, truly? Is he the villain, the cold-hearted ruler of the dead that tales have painted him to be? Or is there more to his story, a silent strength, a quiet justice, and a love that transcends even the boundaries of life and death? Hades is not the tyrant many imagine. He is a guardian of balance, a protector of the cycle of life and death, and a ruler who ensures that every soul finds its rightful place. His world is not one of chaos, but of order, a realm where even in darkness, there is harmony. Tonight, as the whispers of this tale flow through you, let the shadows of Hades' story illuminate a truth often overlooked. This is not just the tale of a dark king, but of a misunderstood soul who carries the weight of a realm upon his shoulders. So, close your eyes, let the whispers guide you, and step with me into the underworld, a place where even in the deepest shadows, stories of justice, love, and eternal balance come to life. A landscape shrouded in mist. No sound could be heard, only the faint murmur of rivers flowing in the distance. The fog that rose from the dark waters of the river Styx stretched endlessly, like a starless night sky blanketing the land. This was a realm opposite to the brightness and life of the mortal world. Here, time seemed to stand still. There were no birds chirping, no rustling leaves in the wind, just a deep, tranquil, eternal silence. This kingdom was a place even the gods whispered about with unease. It was the final destination for all souls, the threshold between life and eternity. At its entrance, a towering gate stood, surrounded by massive, shadowy columns. The columns bore the faint traces of those who had passed through, whispers, mournful cries, and forgotten stories. Just beyond the gate, a solitary boat glided along the river Styx. Within it sat an aged figure, his eyes glowing faintly like embers, Charon, the ferryman. Silently, he rowed, cutting through the river's gentle waves. The river carried the muted songs of countless souls, as though each one was trying to share its own tale. Charon's boat was the only passage from the mortal world into this shadowed kingdom. The darkness that enveloped this world was not cold but oddly peaceful. To those who feared death, this place might seem like a nightmare. But for those who understood the kingdom of Hades, it was a reflection of perfect order. Beyond the river Styx lay grand structures crafted from black marble, their forms stretching into the shadowy horizon. Among them stood the palace of Hades, the crowning jewel of the underworld. Its walls emitted a pale, ethereal glow, piercing the darkness and breathing life into the shadowy realm. Those who stepped into this realm felt the weight of its silence settle upon them. This was the beginning of a journey with no return. At the threshold of this world, Hades always stood ready, silently governing his kingdom with unwavering authority. Entering this land required courage, for beyond the Styx, under the watchful gaze of Hades, no one could hide. Crossing the river Styx, a stone path leads deep into the heart of the underworld. At its end rises a massive palace, surrounded by towering columns that stretch into the darkness. The palace walls, adorned with black onyx and silver, seem to pulse with an otherworldly energy, as if holding the stories of countless souls within their cold embrace. Here, silence takes on a new depth, reverberating through the cavernous halls like a solemn hymn. Inside the palace lies the essence of the underworld's majesty. Silver lanterns cast a dim light, illuminating ceilings that depict intricate star maps, constellations that mimic a sky untouched by sunlight, shimmering faintly against the darkness. The grandeur of the palace is not boastful but reverent, a tribute to the cycles of life and death that Hades oversees. At the heart of the palace sits Hades' throne, a symbol of his authority and the soul of his realm. Carved from black marble and veined with shimmering silver, the throne emanates a quiet strength. Its base resembles the roots of an ancient tree, grounding it to the earth and representing the interconnectedness of life and death. From this seat of power, Hades presides over the eternal balance of his kingdom. The throne room itself is the stage for a sacred ritual, the judgment of souls. Here, Minos, Rhadamanthys, and Aeacus, three impartial judges, examine the lives of those who enter the underworld. Each soul's deeds are weighed, and their eternal fate is decided: peace in the Elysian fields, reflection in the Asphodel meadows, or penance in the depths of Tartarus. Hades watches silently, intervening only when balance demands it. His presence alone reinforces the gravity of these decisions, ensuring justice prevails. Beyond the palace walls, Hades' kingdom stretches into the shadows. From the fiery depths of Tartarus to the tranquil beauty of Elysium, every corner of this vast realm exists under his watchful gaze. Yet his rule is not one of tyranny but of order. Each soul finds its rightful place, and the cycles of existence continue unbroken under Hades' guidance. Sitting upon his throne, Hades often gazes into the distance, lost in thought. For him, time is not a burden but a companion. Everything finds its place within eternity, and Hades, the silent guardian of this vast underworld, ensures the delicate balance remains undisturbed. In the stillness of his kingdom, his presence echoes as a quiet yet unyielding force, the embodiment of order in a world of shadows. Long ago, the heavens, the seas, and the earth trembled under the weight of chaos. The Olympian gods, led by Zeus, had overthrown the reign of the Titans in a battle that shook the foundations of existence. Yet, victory was only the beginning, for now the newly freed world needed order. And so, the three brothers, Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades, gathered to divide the realms among themselves. The division was not a matter of choice, but of fate. The brothers drew lots to decide their domains. Zeus, with his lightning bolt hand, claimed the heavens, ruling over the skies and the storms. Poseidon, with his trident, took the seas, where waves bowed to his command. And to Hades fell the unseen world beneath the earth, the underworld, a shadowed realm far removed from the brightness of the mortal and divine worlds. Hades accepted his lot without protest, though a quiet shadow crossed his face. While Zeus ruled the skies, basking in the brilliance of the sun, and Poseidon commanded the oceans with their endless horizons, Hades descended into the depths of the earth, where neither sunlight nor starlight could reach. It was a domain cloaked in silence, illuminated only by the dim glow of the rivers of the dead. This realm was not one of glory or celebration. It was a somber kingdom, a place where all living things would eventually come to rest. To mortals, it was a realm of fear and finality. To the gods, it was a domain rarely visited, shrouded in mystery. Yet Hades bore his burden with dignity. His was the task of maintaining balance, ensuring the cycle of life and death continued unbroken. As the brothers' faiths diverged, so too did their paths. Zeus and Poseidon were celebrated by mortals and immortalized in their prayers. Hades, however, became a name whispered in fear, a figure associated with the inevitability of death. Yet, in truth, Hades was neither cruel nor heartless. His kingdom was one of order, where every soul found its rightful place, be it the blissful Elysian fields, the reflective asphodel meadows, or the punishing depths of Tartarus. The division of the world among the brothers marked not only the end of the Titans' rule, but also the beginning of a new era. Hades, though burdened with the least glorious realm, accepted his duty as the overseer of the underworld. For he knew that in the grand design of the cosmos, his role was indispensable. In the silent depths of his kingdom, he found a kind of solace, for even in the shadows, there was purpose. In the shadowed stillness of the underworld, time held no meaning, and silence reigned supreme. Yet one day, a soundless melody reached Hades' ears, carried not by wind, but by an unseen longing. It came from the world above, where sunlight danced upon green meadows and flowers bloomed in endless hues. At the center of this brilliance was Persephone, the radiant daughter of Demeter, her laughter like the gentle rustle of spring leaves. Hades, gazing from his shadowed realm, saw her. Her golden hair glistened in the sunlight, and her every movement seemed to awaken life itself. She danced among the wildflowers, her touch coaxing even the shyest blossoms to bloom. In that moment, something unfamiliar stirred within Hades, a warmth that reached into the deepest corners of his being. He had seen beauty before, but never like this. Persephone's presence was not just enchanting, it was transformative. For the first time, Hades felt a yearning he could not silence. His dark kingdom, once a sanctuary of balance and solitude, now seemed incomplete. The stark contrast between his shadowed halls and Persephone's vibrant world filled him with a sense of loss, even though he had never known such brightness before. Her laughter echoed in his mind, breaking through the silence he had always embraced. Yet Hades hesitated. He was the lord of the underworld, the guardian of life's final chapter. How could someone like Persephone, full of life and light, ever belong to the realm of shadows? Still, the spark ignited by that single glance grew into an undeniable flame. He watched her more often, drawn to her joy as though it were the only light that could pierce his eternal night. But this newfound longing brought with it a quiet torment. Hades was not used to desire or hope. For centuries, he had accepted his role with solemn dignity, content to maintain order in his realm. Now, Persephone's image haunted him. Could she ever bring her light into his darkness? Or would his love for her be an impossible dream? This first glance was more than mere admiration, it was the start of a change Hades could not yet comprehend. Persephone, unaware of the watchful eyes from the shadows, carried on with her life in the mortal world. But she had unknowingly planted a seed in the heart of the underworld's ruler, a seed that would soon grow into a story of love, loss, and the delicate balance between light and shadow. Under the warm rays of the sun, Persephone wandered through a field bursting with wildflowers. Her laughter filled the air as her delicate fingers plucked blossoms, weaving them into garlands. The world seemed alive wherever she stepped, each flower bending as if to greet her touch. She was carefree, her heart light, unaware of the eyes that watched her from the depths of the underworld. Hades, unseen yet captivated, gazed upon her with a mixture of longing and sorrow. That fateful day, as Persephone reached for a vibrant red narcissus flower that stood out among the rest, the earth beneath her feet trembled. A great chasm opened with a roar, and from its depths emerged Hades in his ebony chariot, drawn by shadowy steeds whose eyes burned like embers. The ground seemed to sigh as it parted, the bright field dimming in the shadow of the underworld's ruler. Persephone froze, her garland slipping from her hands as Hades descended upon her. Before she could react, he gently but firmly took her hand, his voice deep and steady. "Do not fear me, Persephone," he said, his gaze filled with an intensity that was both tender and sorrowful. "You have brought a light into my darkness that I can no longer be without. Come with me, and be queen of a realm where your radiance will never fade." Though Hades' words carried no malice, Persephone's heart raced with fear and confusion. She struggled, but his hold was resolute. With a flick of the reins, his chariot surged forward, plunging into the depths of the earth. The bright field, once filled with laughter and sunlight, fell silent. As the chariot sped through the underworld's dark passageways, Persephone's fear began to give way to curiosity. The world around her was unlike anything she had ever seen. Rivers of glowing mist wound through blackened valleys, and the air hummed with the faint whispers of countless souls. Hades drove in silence, stealing glances at her as if afraid to speak further. Meanwhile, above the earth, Demeter, Persephone's mother, felt the shift in the world. Her heart grew heavy as she called out for her daughter, her voice echoing unanswered through the meadows and forests. When she found the abandoned garland, her cries of anguish reverberated across the heavens. Flowers wilted, trees shed their leaves, and the earth itself seemed to grieve with her. Deep in the underworld, Persephone's journey continued. Hades brought her to his palace, a place of solemn beauty. Black marble walls shimmered faintly in the glow of silver lanterns, and the air was filled with a stillness unlike the vibrant hum of life above. Persephone, though overwhelmed, began to see a strange majesty in this shadowed world. Hades, despite his stoic nature, softened in her presence. He spoke to her not as a conqueror, but as a man willing to bare his soul. "I know I have taken you from your world," he said, his voice heavy with regret, "but I offer you a place of honor, a throne beside mine, and a realm that is yours to shape." Persephone's journey to the underworld marked the beginning of a profound transformation. Though fear had gripped her at first, the shadows of this dark kingdom began to reveal their own kind of light. And as the wheels of fate turned, Persephone would come to see not only the darkness within Hades, but also the quiet warmth he had long hidden from the world. The mortal world had always thrived under the watchful care of Demeter, the goddess of harvest and fertility. Fields blossomed, trees bore fruit, and the earth sang with life. But on the day Persephone disappeared, that harmony was shattered. Demeter called for her daughter, her voice echoing through the meadows, but no answer came. As the hours turned to days, a deep, unrelenting sorrow settled over her heart. She searched tirelessly, wandering the earth, yet found no trace of Persephone. Her grief soon turned to fury when she learned the truth. The sun god Helios, unable to lie, revealed that Hades had taken Persephone to the underworld. Worse still, Zeus had allowed it. Betrayed and enraged, Demeter confronted Zeus, her voice trembling with both sorrow and anger. "You, who call yourself king of the gods, have stolen my daughter from me. If she is not returned, the earth will suffer my wrath." True to her word, Demeter withdrew her blessings from the world. Crops withered in the fields, rivers dried up, and famine spread across the land. Mortals begged for mercy, but Demeter's heart was consumed with loss. The earth itself mourned alongside her, its once vibrant colors fading into the bleakness of her despair. Zeus, realizing the devastation Demeter's grief had wrought, sent Hermes to the underworld with a message for Hades. Persephone must be returned to the surface, or all life would perish. In his shadowy palace, Hades listened to Hermes' plea. Though reluctant, he understood the gravity of the situation. Persephone had brought light to his dark world, and the thought of losing her filled him with a sorrow he had never known. But Hades was not one to defy the order of the cosmos. Before letting Persephone go, Hades offered her a parting gift, a pomegranate, its seeds glistening like rubies in the dim light. "Take this," he said, his voice heavy with emotion. "A piece of my world to carry with you, wherever you go." Persephone, unaware of the bond this act would create, ate a few seeds, tying herself to the underworld forever. When Persephone emerged from the shadows into the light of day, Demeter's joy was overwhelming. She ran to her daughter, embracing her as if to never let go. But their reunion was bittersweet. Zeus decreed that because Persephone had eaten the pomegranate, she must spend part of the year with Hades as queen of the underworld and the rest with her mother on the surface. Thus, the cycle of the seasons was born. When Persephone returned to the earth, Demeter's joy brought life and abundance to the land, creating spring and summer. But when Persephone descended once more to the underworld, Demeter's sorrow cast the earth into the cold embrace of autumn and winter. Though divided between two worlds, Persephone became a bridge between light and dark, life and death. Her presence in the underworld softened Hades, bringing a warmth he had never known. And her time on the surface brought joy to her mother and life to the earth. This eternal cycle, born of love, loss, and compromise, shaped the world and its rhythms. It is a reminder that even in the darkest moments, there is balance, and within that balance, there is beauty. In the silent depths of the underworld lies a vast hall, where all who pass through the river Styx must come to face their fate. This is the court of judgment, a sacred place where the past is weighed and eternity is decided. Towering black columns line the hall, their surfaces inscribed with the whispers of countless souls who have come before. In the center stands a grand stone platform where the three judges of the dead, Minos, Rhadamanthys, and Aeacus, preside. Every soul, regardless of rank or deeds in life, must stand before these judges. Their task is to evaluate the lives of the departed, sifting through memories and actions to determine the fate that awaits them. Hades himself sits silently in his throne, overseeing the process with an impassive gaze. Though he does not interfere often, his presence alone ensures that justice is carried out. The judgment is simple but unyielding. Those who live lives of virtue and honor are sent to the Elysian fields, a realm of endless peace and joy where the air hums with the songs of the blessed. Those who live without distinction, neither truly virtuous nor wicked, are sent to the asphodel meadows, a place of quiet reflection where they wander in muted contemplation. But for the souls stained by cruelty and malice, the dark depths of Tartarus await, a realm of punishment where the weight of their sins is eternally borne. Hades' role in this process is not that of an executioner, but a silent arbiter. He observes as each soul's story is unraveled, ensuring that the balance of his realm remains intact. Though many fear his judgment, Hades is neither cruel nor vengeful. He is fair, understanding that death is not the end of a soul's journey but a continuation. One day, a soul arrived in the hall whose life was filled with both darkness and redemption. In his final moments, he had sought forgiveness, his heart heavy with regret. The judges, seeing the weight of his sins, were ready to send him to Tartarus. But Hades, breaking his usual silence, spoke, "A soul burdened by remorse is not beyond redemption. Let him walk the asphodel meadows, where he may confront his choices and seek peace within himself." This act of mercy, though rare, revealed the depth of Hades' character. While the mortal world feared him as the Lord of the Dead, those who understood his realm knew him as a guardian of balance, compassion, and justice. For Hades, every soul was part of the eternal cycle, and his duty was not only to judge but to guide. In the underworld, the court of judgment stands as a testament to the fairness and order Hades brings to his kingdom. Here, no soul is forgotten, and no story goes untold. In this sacred place, the past is honored, and the future is shaped, a reminder that even in death, there is justice, and within justice, there is a glimmer of hope. One day, the stillness of the underworld was broken by a sound unlike any other, a melody so sweet and sorrowful that it seemed to make the very shadows shiver. The lilt of a lyre echoed through the dark halls, carried by the hands of a mortal. It was Orpheus, the legendary musician, whose love for his wife Eurydice had brought him to the gates of the underworld. She had died too soon, and Orpheus, unable to live without her, had resolved to venture into Hades' domain to bring her back. Charon, the ferryman of the river Styx, hesitated at first, for no living soul had ever crossed the waters willingly. But when Orpheus played his lyre, even the cold-hearted ferryman was moved. The mournful notes swirled through the mist, and Charon, struck by their beauty, allowed him to pass. Cerberus, the fearsome three-headed guardian of the gates, growled at the intruder but soon grew docile under the spell of Orpheus' music. Step by step, the mortal musician descended deeper into the underworld, his heart beating with the hope of seeing his beloved once more. At last, Orpheus stood before the throne of Hades and Persephone. Hades, who rarely entertained mortals, regarded him with curiosity. Persephone, moved by the mortal's courage and devotion, whispered to her husband, urging him to listen. Orpheus, bowing low, began to sing. His voice trembled with emotion as he told the tale of Eurydice, of her sudden death and his unyielding love. The music painted their story so vividly that the underworld itself seemed to pause and listen. Hades, silent and stern, found himself moved in a way he had not expected. Love was not an emotion often celebrated in his realm, and yet Orpheus' devotion resonated deeply. Persephone, her heart softened by the music, pleaded with Hades to grant the mortal's request. After a long silence, Hades spoke, "You may take Eurydice back to the world of the living. But there is one condition. As you lead her out, you must not look back. Not until you have both crossed into the sunlight. If you do, she will return to me forever." Grateful and determined, Orpheus accepted the challenge. Eurydice's spirit emerged from the shadows, her presence as faint as a whisper. Orpheus felt her behind him as they began their ascent, her footsteps light but steady. His heart raced, both with joy and fear. They walked through the twisting passages of the underworld, the exit growing nearer with every step. But doubt began to creep into Orpheus' mind. Was she truly there? Or was it a cruel illusion? As the light of the surface world came into view, Orpheus' anxiety overwhelmed him. Just steps from freedom, he turned to see her. For one fleeting moment, their eyes met, and Eurydice's face glowed with love and sorrow. But the spell was broken. She began to fade, her hand reaching out to him even as the shadows reclaimed her. "Goodbye, my love," she whispered, her voice barely audible as she disappeared into the depths. Orpheus cried out, his grief echoing through the halls of the underworld. Hades watched silently, his face unreadable. He had given Orpheus a chance, and the mortal's failure was not his burden to bear. Yet deep within, Hades felt a pang of sorrow for the lovers separated by fate. Orpheus returned to the surface, his heart shattered, while Eurydice remained in the underworld, her story etched into its shadows. The tale of Orpheus and Eurydice became a timeless reminder of love's power and fragility. And in the quiet corners of his dark realm, Hades, too, remembered the music that had momentarily pierced the silence of eternity. At the gates of the underworld stood a guardian unlike any other. Cerberus, the fearsome three-headed hound, was both the sentinel and symbol of Hades' realm. With eyes that burned like embers and teeth as sharp as jagged rocks, he was the first and last obstacle for any soul or intruder seeking to enter or escape. His three heads represented the past, present, and future, ever watchful and ever vigilant. To the living, he was a creature of nightmares. To Hades, he was a loyal companion. Cerberus' task was clear, to keep the dead within and the living without. Souls crossing the river Styx would tremble under his gaze, but those who belonged had nothing to fear. For all his ferocity, Cerberus was a just guardian, bound to his duty by an unshakable bond with Hades. Unlike other beasts, he did not serve out of fear or force, but out of loyalty and mutual respect. Hades and Cerberus shared a connection forged in the silent depths of the underworld, a relationship built on trust. Yet even this fearsome guardian could be tested. One such test came when the mighty hero Heracles was tasked with capturing Cerberus as one of his 12 labors. Heracles descended into the underworld, his strength and bravery unmatched, but even he knew that brute force alone would not win the favor of the Lord of the Dead. When Heracles approached Hades, he did so with respect, requesting permission to take Cerberus to the surface. Hades, intrigued by the hero's audacity, agreed under one condition: Heracles could take Cerberus, but only if he subdued the beast without the use of weapons. Heracles accepted the challenge and approached the hound with caution. Cerberus growled, his three heads snapping in unison, but Heracles stood firm, his presence unwavering. With great care, Heracles reached out, his strength matched only by his gentleness, and after a tense moment, Cerberus allowed himself to be led. Heracles fulfilled his task and later returned Cerberus unharmed, earning not only the admiration of mortals but also the quiet respect of Hades. The Lord of the Underworld welcomed his companion back, his bond with the hound stronger than ever. Cerberus resumed his post at the gates, his loyalty unbroken. For Hades, Cerberus was more than a guardian, he was a reflection of the underworld itself, ferocious yet fair, formidable yet faithful. While mortals feared him, those who truly understood the underworld saw Cerberus as a protector, a creature as integral to its order as Hades himself. Through countless centuries, Cerberus remained at his station, an unyielding presence at the threshold of life and death. And though his growls echoed through the dark halls of the underworld, those who knew him recognized the quiet devotion behind his ferocity, a devotion to the balance that Hades so carefully maintained. Together, Hades and Cerberus ruled a kingdom where every soul found its rightful place, and where even in the shadows, loyalty and trust shone brightly. Hades, the lord of the underworld, is often misunderstood. Mortals fear his name, associating him with death's cold inevitability. Yet, behind the shadowy veil of his kingdom lies a ruler driven not by malice but by an unshakable sense of justice and duty. Unlike his brothers, Zeus and Poseidon, whose tempers shaped the skies and seas, Hades governed his realm with measured silence and solemnity. His throne was not one of chaos, but of order, a place where every soul received exactly what it deserved. In the underworld, Hades maintained a balance that ensured the cycle of life and death remained unbroken. He did not interfere with the lives of mortals, nor did he judge them with cruelty. Instead, he ensured that each soul found its rightful place, whether in the blissful Elysian fields, the contemplative asphodel meadows, or the punishing depths of Tartarus. To him, the underworld was not a prison but a sanctuary, a realm where the dead could find peace or face the consequences of their actions. Hades' nature was often mistaken for coldness, but in truth, his reserved demeanor concealed a deep understanding of life's complexities. He saw not only the actions of souls, but also the intentions and struggles that shaped them. While his rule was firm, it was also tempered with compassion. He was willing to offer mercy where it was earned, even in the darkest of circumstances. One tale speaks of a soul who arrived at the gates of the underworld burdened with great sin but also profound remorse. The judges of the dead were ready to send the soul to Tartarus, where it would suffer for eternity. Yet Hades, observing silently from his throne, intervened. "This soul's regret outweighs its misdeeds," he declared. "Let it walk the asphodel meadows, where it may reflect and seek redemption." His decision was neither soft nor unjust. It was the act of a ruler who valued fairness above all. Hades' justice extended to all who entered his realm, regardless of their status in life. Kings and beggars were judged by the same standard, their earthly deeds the only measure of their worth. This impartiality set him apart from his brothers, whose rule was often swayed by passion or pride. Hades' steadfast commitment to balance made him a figure of quiet power and respect. Though mortals feared him, Hades did not seek their worship or adoration. His domain was not a place for the living, and his role was not to inspire awe but to uphold the natural order. In the shadows of his kingdom, he found purpose, a silent guardian ensuring that the cycles of existence continued unbroken. Hades' just and steady nature stands as a reminder that even in the darkest places, there can be fairness and understanding. He is not the tyrant that many imagine, but a protector of balance, a ruler who values the dignity of every soul. His story is one of quiet strength, a testament to the power of justice and the peace that can be found even in the depths of shadow. Hades, the enigmatic ruler of the underworld, has journeyed far beyond the pages of ancient myths to find a place in modern storytelling. Often depicted as a dark and brooding figure, he embodies both fear and fascination, a character as complex as the realm he governs. While ancient texts portrayed him as a fair and solemn guardian of balance, modern adaptations have reimagined him in myriad ways, from a misunderstood antihero to a villain cloaked in shadow. In contemporary retellings, Hades is frequently cast as a symbol of the unknown, representing death, mystery, and the hidden depths of human emotion. He appears in books, films, and theater, often depicted as a brooding outsider. Yet, beneath the darkness, many of these stories explore Hades' quieter qualities, his unwavering sense of duty, his love for Persephone, and his deep connection to the cycle of life and death. One of the most enduring aspects of Hades in modern storytelling is his relationship with Persephone. Their myth, once seen as a tale of abduction, has evolved into a story of complex love and mutual transformation. Contemporary interpretations often focus on the balance between their opposing worlds, light and dark, life and death. These portrayals highlight Hades as a figure capable of tenderness, a ruler who finds solace in Persephone's presence and allows her to soften the shadows of his realm. In literature, Hades often serves as a metaphor for the darker aspects of the human psyche. His kingdom represents not just death, but the uncharted territories of the mind, grief, guilt, and redemption. Authors use Hades to explore themes of acceptance and resilience, showing that even in the darkest moments, there is a chance for growth and understanding. In these narratives, Hades is not a cruel tyrant, but a guide through the shadows, helping others navigate their fears. Pop culture has also embraced Hades as a dynamic and multifaceted character. From animated films to video games, he is often depicted with a sharp wit and a dark charisma. These portrayals blend humor with gravitas, presenting Hades as an anti-hero rather than a one-dimensional villain. While these versions stray from his ancient origins, they capture his complexity, making him relatable to modern audiences. Hades' story continues to evolve, reflecting the shifting perceptions of darkness and power in human culture. Where once he was feared as the Lord of the Dead, he is now appreciated as a symbol of balance and introspection. His narrative reminds us that even in the shadowed corners of existence, there is dignity and purpose. In modern myths, Hades stands as a testament to the enduring power of ancient stories. His presence invites us to confront our fears, embrace the unknown, and find harmony between light and dark. Through the lens of contemporary storytelling, Hades emerges not as a villain, but as a figure of depth and humanity, a reminder that even the ruler of the underworld carries a story worth telling. Deep in the shadowed expanse of the underworld, silence reigns supreme. It is not an empty silence, but one that hums with the weight of eternity, a tapestry woven with the whispers of countless souls. For mortals, this stillness is haunting, yet for Hades, it is the very fabric of his kingdom. Here, the absence of chaos is not emptiness, but a profound peace, a balance that defines his rule. The river Styx flows softly in the distance, its mournful melody mingling with the faint echoes of Cerberus' watchful growls. These sounds, subdued yet ever-present, form the quiet heartbeat of the underworld. Hades sits upon his onyx throne, his gaze steady and unwavering. The silence surrounding him is a testament to the order he upholds, a reflection of the delicate equilibrium between life and death. In this realm, every whisper carries a story. The souls who pass through the gates leave behind the echoes of their lives, triumphs, regrets, love, and loss. Hades listens without judgment, for his is not the task of deciding right or wrong, but of ensuring that every soul finds its place. The silence of his kingdom is not the absence of sound, but the presence of understanding, a sacred stillness that allows every story to settle into eternity. For Hades, this silence is both his solace and his burden. It is a reminder of his duty, of the balance he must maintain. While the gods above revel in the clamor of mortal prayers and the drama of the heavens, Hades governs a realm untouched by such distractions. His strength lies not in thunderous proclamations, but in quiet resolve. To mortals, the underworld may seem a place of despair, but to those who truly see it, it is a sanctuary. Within its shadows lies a profound order, a reminder that even in death, there is justice and peace. Hades, the silent guardian of this realm, ensures that the cycles of existence continue unbroken. His throne may be shrouded in darkness, but his rule brings clarity and purpose to the souls who find their way to his gates. The whispers of the underworld speak not of fear, but of acceptance. They tell of a ruler who embraces his solitude, who carries the weight of a kingdom with quiet strength. In this stillness, Hades is not a figure of terror, but of balance, a guide through the shadows, a keeper of stories, and a protector of the eternal cycle of life and death. Hades' kingdom, cloaked in shadow and silence, stands as a monument to the balance of existence. Though feared and misunderstood by mortals, his role is indispensable in the grand design of the cosmos. He is not merely the Lord of the Dead, but the guardian of order, the keeper of the delicate equilibrium between life and death. His legacy is one of quiet strength, a reminder that even in the darkness, there is purpose and dignity. The underworld reflects Hades himself, somber, resolute, yet inherently fair. Each soul that crosses into his realm becomes a part of his eternal story. Their lives, their choices, and their truths are woven into the fabric of his kingdom. Hades ensures that justice is served, not with cruelty or malice, but with a steadfast commitment to balance. He is not a ruler who demands worship or adoration, but one who commands respect through his unwavering dedication. Beyond the gates of the underworld, Hades' influence extends to the mortal and divine realms alike. His existence reminds the living of life's fragility and the inevitability of death, not as a punishment but as a continuation of the eternal cycle. In a world of chaos and uncertainty, Hades' presence is a stabilizing force, grounding the cosmos in its natural rhythms. Modern interpretations of Hades have brought new light to his story, portraying him not as a villain but as a complex and nuanced figure. He is seen as a protector, a misunderstood guardian whose actions stem not from malice but from duty. Through these reimaginings, his legacy has evolved, yet his essence remains unchanged. He is a symbol of balance, of justice tempered with compassion, of shadows that do not obscure but reveal. Hades' throne may rest in the depths of the underworld, but his impact is far-reaching. His story continues to resonate, inspiring reflection on life, death, and the spaces in between. As the whispers of his kingdom echo through time, they carry a timeless truth that even in the darkest corners of existence, there is order, and within that order, a quiet kind of beauty. In the end, Hades' legacy is not one of fear but of respect. He is the silent guardian of a world that few understand, a ruler whose strength lies not in grand displays but in his unwavering commitment to the balance of all things. His tale, steeped in shadow and light, reminds us that even the darkest myths can shine with meaning, and even the most misunderstood figures can leave an enduring mark on the world. As the whispers of the underworld fade and the shadows retreat, we are left with a story that transcends fear and misunderstanding. Hades, the quiet ruler of the underworld, is more than the sum of myths and fears that surround him. His throne, carved from the fabric of eternity, stands as a symbol of balance, justice, and the inevitable cycle of life and death. Hades is not the villain many perceive him to be, but a guardian of order in a chaotic cosmos. His silence speaks volumes, his actions, though often unseen, hold the weight of the universe's natural rhythms. In the underworld, he is not merely the Lord of the Dead, but the keeper of stories, of love, loss, redemption, and transformation. Through the tales of Persephone, Orpheus, and the countless souls who have passed through his realm, we see Hades not as a figure of terror, but as a reflection of the profound truths that shape our existence. He reminds us that darkness is not something to fear, but a space for reflection, for balance, and for growth. As we leave his shadowed halls, let us carry with us the understanding that even in the quietest corners of existence, there is power. Even in the deepest darkness, there is purpose. Hades, the misunderstood king, stands as a testament to the beauty found in balance and the strength found in silence. And so, we bid farewell to the underworld, knowing that its quiet majesty endures, a part of every story and every soul. Until we return to whisper once more, may Hades' tale remind us to embrace the cycles of light and shadow, and to find harmony in the spaces between.